Bonnie the Bunny, the animatronic that even scared the creator of FNAF. A character that can look very intimidating even without eyebrows. There has always been a debate on Bonnie's color. Is he blue or purple? Who knows? There are so many different versions of Bonnie, and I want to rank every single one of them. For this ranking, I am including every Bonnie character in the FNAF franchise, so also Vanny and MXES. The ones I'm not including are the FNAF World and FNAF AR Bonnies. And before I start ranking every Bonnie, please keep in mind that this is my opinion. You may not agree with some placements in the ranking, and that's totally fine. Now let's start as always with the first game and rank OG Bonnie. His body is exactly the same as Freddy, only with a different color. Like I said earlier, there's always been a debate on Bonnie's color. Some people say it's purple and others say it's blue. It's hard to tell, but I think it's blue. If you take a look at Bonnie in Help Wanted and in the movies, he's clearly blue. Of course, for a rabbit animatronic, Scott gave him the huge bunny ears. He's also the only one with no eyebrows, which I really like. You can't tell whether he's happy or angry. He has an unreadable face. Bonnie looks very intimidating on the cameras. Sometimes he even likes to press his face against the lens. He's also a smart animatronic, because he doesn't stand in front of the glass next to the door, like Chica does. This makes it hard to tell if Bonnie is actually in front of the door or not. Some say Bonnie is the fast animatronic and not Foxy. In the game he moves really fast from room to room, and in the trailer you can see him actually running. He also has one of the best jump scares in the game. OG Bonnie goes in the peak rank. It's the first Bonnie, what else do I need to say? Over to Toy Bonnie, people's biggest nightmare in 1020 mode. Whenever you saw him in the ventilation, you know he will take his sweet time in there. It always takes forever until he shows up in your office. As far as design, I'm not a big fan. It works for a cute toy animatronic, with his light blue skin, the big red cheeks and whiskers on his eyes. But this makes the toy animatronics not scary at all. They try to be, like this death screen of Toy Bonnie, but seriously, you won't scare me with that. I mean, compare these two Bonnies staring in the camera. I think it's obvious which one looks more intimidating. I do like Toy Bonnie's jump scare though. When he sees you in the night guard, he starts jumping onto you, just like Withered Foxy. Also his voice in the movie is perfect. I know that MatPat is the voice of Toy Bonnie. I was afraid that MatPat wouldn't do an accent for Toy Bonnie and just made him sound like himself, but luckily that was not the case. Toy Bonnie is one of the weakest versions of Bonnie and I can't rank him high on the list. I'll put him on the meh rank. He's not trash. Now let's rank the faceless animatronic Withered Bonnie. I absolutely love his design. He's probably my favorite Withered animatronic. I'm always doubting between Chica and Bonnie. Withered Bonnie has no face, no eyes and no arm. While he got some kind of eyes, he now has these red dots. Some endoskeleton parts are exposed, like his right hand and left foot. Other than that, you see a lot of exposed wires. His jump scares are a bit weak. In FNAF 2, he starts grabbing you with his right arm, and in UCN, he's just a moving image. I like the fan-made version more of Joy of Creation, where he literally starts punching you to death. What I do like about UCN Withered Bonnie is his voice. It's a distorted, deep voice that really fits him. There's not much more to say about Withered Bonnie. He's in my opinion a peak animatronic. I think almost every FNAF fan would agree with that. There is one secret Bonnie character in FNAF 2, Shadow Bonnie, or how Scott would like to call it, RWQFSFASXC. Yeah, I'm not going to call him that. Shadow Bonnie is basically Toy Bonnie if you would paint him with the blackest color that ever exists. Only his eyes and teeth are white. Also, Shadow Bonnie has for some reason more upper teeth than Toy Bonnie. In FNAF 2, there is a rare chance you can encounter this animatronic. He appears on the left side in your office. If you ignore him, he starts crashing the game. It's a very eerie Easter egg. Seeing this entity just standing there gives off an unnatural feeling. Back in the day, I didn't really like Shadow Bonnie. I was more a fan of Shadow Freddy. But later on, I started liking him more. I love that he's one of the secret characters in UCN, and I like that he was present for a second in the FNAF 2 movie. I'll put Shadow Bonnie in the great list. It's still a recall of a character that I don't even like. Bonnie is the only character that doesn't have a Phantom version, so finally no FNAF 3 character in the trash rank. Instead of having a Phantom Bonnie, we have Springtrap. Scott made of course no Phantom Bonnie, so that he could confuse us with Springtrap. Of course now, we know that Springtrap is the original Spring Bonnie costume with William Afton's rotting corpse inside. Springtrap's design is top notch, it works perfectly for the main villain. I think the reason the Phantoms are just simple recolors of existing animatronics is because Scott took all his time to create this animatronic. This needed to be the main villain, the one who started all the agony. So Scott needed to make this character stand out the most, and he succeeded. There is so much withering on this animatronic, and the flesh inside the suit makes him look very eerie. I love the rare screens you can get in FNAF 3. You can see William Afton trying to break out of the suit while revealing his rotting human head. Just to think about it, a dead body locked in a Spring Bonnie costume for 30 years and still being active is so disturbing. One thing I do find a bit weird on Springtrap's design is his endoskeleton. William Afton wore this suit and got spring-locked, probably with no endoskeleton inside. I mean, how else would he fit in? But on the Springtrap design, you can see that William's flesh is wrapped around the endoskeleton. So did somebody shove an endoskeleton in the suit while there was a dead body inside? Or did William Afton do this himself so that he can keep walking? It's a bit weird, but not the biggest problem in the world. There's one thing that makes this character a bit weak, and that's his jump scares. Springtrap's jump scares suck. It doesn't scare you at all. I'm more scared of Springtrap's camera poses and this goofy walk of him. And unfortunate, his jump scare in UCN is not better. But despite the jump scares, I still think this is a perfect animatronic. His design is sick, he looks very creepy on the cameras, and his backstory is great. Springtrap is easily a peak character. Now let's rank Springtrap again, but this time his fixed version without the corpse, Spring Bonnie. Spring Bonnie and Fredbear were the first animatronics ever created by Fazbear Entertainment. Both are spring-lock suits, which means a human and endoskeleton can fit inside. Although it's a smart idea, they are very dangerous. You saw what happened to William Afton when the spring-locks got activated. I don't have much to say about the design of Spring Bonnie, it's just a fixed version of Springtrap. It works for a Bonnie animatronic, I guess. What makes this animatronic really special is that this is the suit William Afton used to kill kids. Most of the dead children saw this Bonnie character in their last moment. This is their biggest enemy. It's really disturbing if you think about it. So many fans have created VHS videos of him wearing the suit while murdering children. It was also very great to see it in action in the FNAF 2 movie. Speaking about the movies, I loved seeing a slightly damaged version of Spring Bonnie. It shows how the suit slowly rots. For having such a dark backstory, I'll give the animatronic a fantastic rank. This Spring Bonnie character also counts for the Spring Bonnie from Into the Pit, who also is a great Bonnie character. Over to FNAF 4, Nightmare Bonnie. I like every Nightmare animatronic's design. They are so unique and look very cool. That also applies to Nightmare Bonnie. His design is sick. What I love most about this animatronic is that he got whiskers on his snout. I also like that his ears are even longer than normal with 3 movable joints. Yeah, what can I say more about Nightmare Bonnie? His design is great and his jump scare works scaring the player. Nightmare Bonnie deserves the fantastic rank. Every time you beat a night in FNAF 4, you get to play a minigame called Fun with Plushtrap. In this minigame, you have to try to flash Plushtrap on the X mark. If you succeed, you'll get a 2-hour bonus for the next night. If you don't, you'll get jump scared. Plushtrap is basically a small version of Springtrap. It's a plush yellow animatronic bunny, with a bit of withering and with sharp teeth. This minigame also made an appearance in Help Wanted. I've never played the FNAF 4 version, but I did play the Help Wanted one, so I know how scary this minigame really is. There are also 2 different endoskeleton versions of Plushtrap. You got the FNAF World one, where he's a selectable character, and the one in Help Wanted. His jump scare works also very great in this minigame, you never know when he's about to attack you. This Little Nightmares Plus animatronic goes right into the great rank. FNAF 4 was the first game with a Halloween update. I mean, an update with new characters and no dumb decoration. In this Halloween update, we have a new version of Nightmare Bonnie, called Jackal Bonnie. Jackal Bonnie is basically a reskinned Nightmare Bonnie. He's orange instead of purple, he has no endo head, and he got some kind of orange glow inside of him, which looks very much like fire. Because he has no endo head, he now has this huge hole in his right eye. He also misses his nose. Jackal Bonnie is a cool character, but still a recolor of an existing animatronic. I think he fits perfectly in the great list. In the Twisted ones, we get to know the new Twisted animatronics. All the Twisted animatronics have illusional discs that transform them into nightmarish animatronics. If you look at Twisted Bonnie's design, we can see a lot of withering on his body. What stands out the most is his double jaw. It looks very unnatural. I also like his curved nails and melted belly. It's a shame we don't see the Twisted animatronics in the games or anything. I would really like to see more of Twisted Bonnie. It's a cool animatronic. Because of that, I can't rank Twisted Bonnie higher than meh. There is no official Funtime Bonnie animatronic, but there is some kind of Bonnie in this location. I'm talking about Funtime Freddy's right-handed body, Bon. Bon is a hand puppet. He's connected on Freddy's right arm. He's made out of a very shiny material, just like all the other Funtime animatronics. You wouldn't expect it, but Bon is able to kill you. When fixing Funtime Freddy, Bon removes himself from the arm and tries jump scaring you. The only way to prevent this is by clicking on his button located on his chest. He can also jump scare you in Custom Night. In Help Wanted and Help Wanted 2, Bon Bon made a return. I love the Bonker Bomb minigame in Help Wanted 2. Here you have the chance to get your revenge by beating the shit out of him. Bon Bon is a funny character, but not that good compared to the other bunnies. I'll give him the meh rank. Bon Bon also has a recolor called Bonnet. Bonnet's first appearance was in the sister location Custom Night. When you see her in front of you, you quickly need to press her nose before she reaches the left side of your screen. She also has a secret character in UCN, where she has the same game mechanic. Bonnet also appeared in the same levels as Bon Bon in Help Wanted and Help Wanted 2. I do like Bonnet a little bit more than Bon Bon, and I don't really have an explanation for that. But Bonnet still ends up in the same rank as Bon Bon. In FNAF 6 we meet Rockstar Bonnie. Rockstar Bonnie is a regular Bonnie animatronic. There's nothing that makes him really special. He has his guitar and star buttons on his belly. In FNAF 6 you can only buy and see him in blueprint mode, but in UCN he is a selectable character. When he appears in your office, you have to find his guitar on the cameras. Although it's a funny game mechanic, he is one of the annoying characters in 50/20 mode. If he spawns in your office, most of the time your run is over. I don't find Rockstar Bonnie that interesting. For me, he's a meh character. The next Bonnie character is Scraptrap. Now most of the people would put him on the trash rank. His design doesn't work the same way as Springtrap. Everybody hates his big brainiac head. But I actually really like Scraptrap's design. Yes, his head is huge and does look like a knot, but I think it fits him perfectly. I like his big rabbit foreteeth and giant eye sockets. Also his right skeleton hand with these pointy fingers look very sick. His design is totally different than Springtrap's design, and I like that. It probably means that there is another Spring Bonnie suit that William found after the FNAF 3 fire. What I like most about Scraptrap is that there is an actual dead body in the suit. And I mean with bones and all. With Springtrap it's only William Afton's flesh, but Scraptrap has the whole skeleton inside. Of course, this doesn't make sense at all, but I really like it. I gotta agree with people saying that Scraptrap's skeleton head doesn't look anything like a real skeleton head. I mean, why does it have ears? What makes Scraptrap look very cool to me are some of his poses in the game. Like the back alley one, the one at the salvage desk, and definitely the connection terminated shot. The skeleton hand on the door and the dark black eyes make him look so eerie. Scraptrap also came with more William Afton lines, which all sound really great. Also in UCN he's called Afton instead of Scraptrap. If I have to rank Scraptrap with full honesty, I place him on the peak list. He was and may still be my favorite FNAF character in the franchise. I know a lot of people absolutely don't agree with this, so please keep in mind that this is my opinion. Let's go to Help Wanted and rank Glitchtrap. He's a bit different than all the other Bonnie characters. He is no animatronic. Glitchtrap is a costume version of Spring Bonnie. He does have a bit more detail on him, like his purple jacket and big whiskers. We know that there's not an actual person inside the costume. It's not even real. Glitchtrap is a virus that's messing with the game. This virus is a digital version of the Mimic that tries to control people's brain. We know this because he can somehow manipulate Vanessa's mind. I like Glitchtrap's design, but I find his story and purpose in the games a bit weak. In Security Breach, it didn't even feel he was present in the game. You only saw him in the Princess Quest minigames. So I'll put Glitchtrap in the great rank. He's not the best villain. Vanny is one of the most disappointing characters in the FNAF franchise. She is meant to be the main antagonist in Security Breach, but she's not even present in the game for more than 5 minutes. I'm also still confused why Vanny kidnaps children in the Pizzaplex. Of course, it's Glitchtrap telling her to do this, but what does Glitchtrap want with these children? He probably kills them, but what's the purpose for that? The only good reason I can come up with is that the Mimic knows who William Afton is and wants to mimic him. I'll go more into this theory when ranking Burntrap. I do like Vanny's design, it works for a crazy bunny killer. Although it is really unfortunate that she's not holding a knife. She did hold a knife in all the teasers, but they removed it. I believe the reason for this is that Sony didn't find it suitable for a PG-13 rated game. So I guess we should blame Sony for weakening the horror in FNAF. I also love the walk animations of Vanny, they look very eerie. When Vanny is getting closer to you, your screen is getting more and more distorted. I find this a really cool way of making her stand out a bit more compared to the rest of the animatronics. In my opinion, Steel will really waste her in the game, which is very disappointing. Vanny could have been such an interesting character. Unfortunate, I can't put her higher than the meh rank. Now I'll go to Burntrap. His design looks a lot like Springtrap. He's an endoskeleton with a lot of parts that look to be from a Spring Bonnie suit. Also, just like Springtrap, he has flesh wrapped around his endoskeleton. On his right arm he got 2 skeletal fingers, which is very coincident because Scraptrap also had the same skeleton fingers on his right hand. The mask also looks a lot like Springtrap's mask. There is a lot of confusion on who Burntrap really is. Is it William Afton or the Mimic? His design and everything make him look more like William Afton. It's a Springtrap lookalike with purple eyes and it even has troubles walking. But in Ruin, we know that the Mimic is down in the FNAF 6 pizzeria, where also the Burntrap fight takes place. I think Burntrap originally needed to be William Afton. Steele thought this was the idea Scott wanted to go, but that was not the case. So Scott made a book where he introduced the Mimic. In this book, the Mimic is described as an endoskeleton with bunny ears, which sounds a lot like Burntrap. But why does Burntrap have human remains on his body? I think these are the human parts of the workers who went down into the sinkhole. And the reason it acts and looks like William Afton is because the Mimic probably knew who William Afton was. Maybe he went to one of the Fazbear locations after the ending in Secret of the Mimic. There is still no good reason why the Mimic in Security Breach wants to kill children. Eventually, it doesn't even matter who Burntrap really is, because we know he's not canon. It's a comic that Gregory drew in the Pizzaplex. Scott had a totally different idea in mind for Burntrap. Instead of being a boss fight, he wanted to hide him in different spots to stalk the player down. Which sounds honestly like a much better idea for Burntrap. It's a cool looking character with a lot of confusion and mistakes. I still want to put him in the Fantastic rank. A character that mimics William Afton still sounds very disturbing. And if it still turns out to be William Afton, I would still love him, even though it would ruin the story. In Security Breach there's a character that Fazbear Entertainment tried to hide from us. I'm talking about Glamrock Bonnie. There is no sign of him in the Pizzaplex, but there are multiple messages that talk about this character. Glamrock Bonnie also has an attraction in the Pizzaplex, called Bonnie Ball, which is still active. Finally in Ruin, we get to see this character behind the bowling alley. It's completely destroyed and torn into pieces. So unfortunate, we will never see this animatronic operate again. It is nice to see the official design of Glamrock Bonnie. Fans already made a fixed version of him. I like that this Bonnie has hair and got one big rabbit teeth. I also love this big collar around his neck. It has never been confirmed how Glamrock Bonnie got destroyed and got hidden in this room, but a lot of fans are certain that Monty was the one doing this to Bonnie. There is a message saying that Bonnie was last seen in Monty's Gator Golf. Also in the Gator ride in Ruin, you can see on the end that the Monty cutout blast Bonnie away. People also believe that Monty's glasses are originally from Bonnie. He stole his glasses after killing him. Glamrock Bonnie looks like a cool and fun animatronic if he would still be active. I like that he's a character that Fazbear Entertainment tried to hide from us, just like Fredbear. Unfortunate, we will probably never see him alive. I'll give Glamrock Bonnie the great rank. In Ruin we meet MXES, a digital Bonnie computer. It sounds a lot like Glitchtrap, but he's actually the good guy. MXES is programmed to stop anyone that tries to free the Mimic. Of course, in Ruin we didn't know this and thought he was the bad guy. I like MXES's design. It's something completely different from what we are used to see from FNAF. He kinda looks like a ghost rabbit with a steel end. Also, he's a master of mewing. I mean, look at that chin. There's a version of MXES that got scrapped, and that's this horrifying skeleton Bonnie. It's a bit unfortunate that they didn't go for this design. It would make the DLC much more scarier. But again, this version wouldn't fit for a digital Bonnie, so I get the change. We now also know that this computer controlling MXES was originally M1, the Fiona computer. So this thing is more than 50 years old. MXES is a sick character, and with the backstory we got from Secret of the Mimic, I like him even more. I'll give him the Fantastic rank. The last two Bonnie characters are from Secret of the Mimic. Both are prototype versions of existing animatronics. Let's first look at prototype Bonnie. Of course, this model looks a lot like original Bonnie. Only his face is different. He has this unfinished mask. You can use prototype Bonnie to distract the Mimic. Although it is nice to see the first version of OG Bonnie, it's not that interesting. I'll put prototype Bonnie on the meh list. The next animatronic, or should I say suit, is prototype Spring Bonnie. It's cool to see a different version of Spring Bonnie. You can definitely see that this is not the Spring Bonnie from Fazbear Entertainment. I like the small button on his missing bow tie, which opens the spring lock. Now I do find prototype Fredbear a lot more interesting than prototype Spring Bonnie. We already know how Spring Bonnie looks like if we on with a Springtrap, but we have no idea how official Fredbear looks like. Because of that, I'll give prototype Spring Bonnie the meh rank. And that's every Bonnie ranked. You may have noticed that I didn't place anyone in the trash rank, and that's because I don't believe there's a real bad Bonnie character. People would say Scraptrap, but again, for some reason I really like the animatronic. Let me know what's your favorite Bonnie character down in the comments. If you like this ranking video and want to see more, check out these videos where I rank all Freddys and Foxys. And of course, don't forget to like the video and consider subscribing to the channel.